Barefoot Cavalry, barefootcavalry.com. All things subject to change without notice, please move along. Posted on September 20, 2018 by Yojack454. We want to educate Americans. Well, America, the FBI is the biggest mob. You know we had an FBI. Then the outlaw FBI took over. The top was poisoned and they worked for the deep state. So many crimes were committed under Barack Hussein Obama as president. Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. The Democrats could not afford to let the Republicans, which is a joke, take a peek. But what was even worse, it was Donald J. Trump taking a peek. Another straight shooter just like Judge Kavanaugh. Good is evil and evil is good. Anyone ever hear of a West Coast turnaround? West Coast turnarounds are from the East Coast to the West Coast and back to the East Coast in less than 7 days with a truck. The turnaround part could be best explained by this. Driver 1. Hey driver, what's that you got in your cigarette pack? Driver 2. Well, driver, that's my second driver. He's driving all the way back. See how workers have been punished? The lazies are elevated and a lot of people get paid to lay up on dope in America. We've made it so truck drivers can't make a really decent living for suffering long periods out on the road without a wage an hour or without the ability to run their natural body rhythms and earn their way within the time they have. You should feel sorry for them with all the regulations piled up upon them. CPAC machines, virtual prisoners in their trucks for a specific amount of time. Every tool, GPS, cell phone, camcorders, satellite, and all their paperwork that has made their life easy can be turned against them in a court of law by a lawyer. Stay safe, drivers. The FBI is without regulation. The nation is turned upside down. The FBI is a big tool for the deep state, but imagine John Brennan, known in circles as Dr. Drone, is focused on domestic policy and why the CIA is so dangerous. If, as James O'Keefe has pointed out, the State Department and the Justice Department, having deep state operators working from within is a crime. It's really a crime for the CIA to focus within our borders against our citizens. Oh, and even the Senate. John Brennan, a director who was into regime change at the CIA. Brennan, 5th director of the Central Intelligence Agency, with the addition of 2 words. The director of the Central Intelligence Agency, an agency. A cursory internet search using the new words will give you a dead end at Porter Goss. The old guys never liked Porter Goss, and apparently the new guys didn't either, but he was a George Herbert Walker Bush gopher. When you see the picture of Lee Harvey Oswald and Burryman Barry Seal at the Louisiana Civil Air Patrol camp in the 1950s, that was Porter Goss, who studied Greeks, bent over at the table with David Ferry, flight instructor, in the helmet liner behind him. There are 0 degrees of separation between Porter Goss, George H.W. Bush, whose cell phone number was in Barry Seal's back pocket when he was assassinated outside of Baton Rouge, L.A., halfway house at his 6 p.m. reporting time, and Barry Seal, contract cocaine importation. You can thank George Herbert Walker Bush in an oblique way for the change of the name of Director Central Intelligence. This particular link will give you enough information that could lead you to discover and put together for yourself, say if you were a college student thirsting for knowledge, to stumble upon John Foster Dulles, Director Central Intelligence, old school. And then more searching come up with the Warren Commission, and then even find George Bush of the CIA, per J. Edgar Hoover. These were the days when George Herbert Walker Bush was expendable. Those days are over. George Herbert Walker Bush, who was to become Director of Central Intelligence, was in Dallas. 11/22/63. A patsy within a patsy operation. Want to know why there's all these shootings today? It's because Brennan is scared shitless and he works for jerks like George Herbert Walker Bush. Sit down here, kitty. They have Mandela'd the history, and if kids don't use the proper words in a search, they'll be down a dead end. It was the 2016 election of Russian influence and corruption. Up your ass, John Brennan. Up your ass, uranium to Russia Mueller. And up your scooter Libby, James Comey. It's like when Florida changed the exit numbers on I-10 and started naming them by the mile marker rather than the number of exits from east to west. The truck stop at exit 70 is still named the Lucky 13 truck stop. I'll never forget being in the Lucky 13 truck stop as an F-22 was making amazing turns in the sky. My cell phone rang. A friend in Louisiana had died in his truck. He had just left the house with a load of rice. A drunk hotshot driver was eastbound. My friend was coming up on exit 87 westbound around Church Point and Rayne, Louisiana. Hotshot is a name as old as the term gypsy trucker. They run time-sensitive tools and parts for the oil industry almost exclusively, mostly pickup trucks and gooseneck trailers. These were the days when America made her own parts in small machine shops across the southern United States for the oil industry, rather than crates with Chinese lettering. The hotshot driver had 2 passengers who may have contributed to his drunken state. As they proceeded eastbound, they began to hoot a woman driver and hooked her car with their trailer, dragging it into the median like a whirling dervish, where safely in her car she was left on the fast lane shoulder of westbound traffic. The drunken hotshots proceeded into the westbound lane and struck my friend head on. He was just a little over 6'7" and north of 350 pounds. I was able to look at his artwork on the wall of King's Truck Stop, Port Barre, Louisiana, on US 190 in the Jambalaya Cafe many times after his death. Anything west of there is deep Cajun country. My friend's logbook was up to snuff, and he was legitimate, like America. The Lucky 13 represents the U.S. in this analogy. It still has the same name, Lucky 13, but it's really exit 70. My friend driving the truck represents America and the hard-working people who made this place something. We did it, they did it, but it's us. The drunk hotshot driver and his 2 passengers represent the rogue FBI and all the intelligence apparatus we have that is supposed to be focused on our enemies. The lady spun out through the median and almost into westbound traffic. That's Hillary Clinton. She's just feeling the breeze, but she really doesn't hear the footsteps.